Ngozi, the wicked mother-in-law. I still see her face in my dreams, those sharp, angry eyes, and the way her lips curled when she smiled. It wasn't a kind smile, it was the kind that chilled your bones, the kind that said she knew something you didn't. That was Ngozi. She wasn't just wicked, she was terrifying. I lived in the same village as her, and everyone knew her reputation. She was the mother of Obina, a kind man who had just married a beautiful young woman named Nega. The wedding had been the talk of the village for weeks. Everyone was happy for them except Ngozi. From the start, she hated Neka. She said the girl was too proud, that she didn't respect the family. But that wasn't true. Neka was soft-spoken and kind. She did everything to please Ngozi, but it was never enough. Ngozi wanted control. She wanted her son all to herself. The first strange thing happened a few weeks after the wedding. Neka fell sick. She complained of constant headaches. Her body felt heavy, and no medicine seemed to help. The healer tried everything, but nothing worked. That's when whispers started. People said Ngozi had cursed her. I didn't believe it at first. Curses were stories old women told to scare children. But then I saw it with my own eyes. One night, I was walking home late after helping my uncle with some repairs. The moon was bright and the village was quiet. As I passed Obina's compound, I heard voices. I knew I shouldn't have stopped, but curiosity got the better of me. I crept closer and hid behind a tree. In the courtyard, Ngozi was standing over Neka, who was lying on the ground, too weak to move. Obina wasn't there. He was likely out walking as he always did late into the night. Ngozi was holding a small clay pot and muttering words I couldn't understand. Her voice was low and rhythmic, like a chant.
She poured something from the pot onto the ground around Neka, making a circle. Then she crashed down and whispered into Neka's ear. I couldn't hear everything, but I caught bits of it. You will never take my son. You will leave this house or die. Neka tried to cry out, but she could barely speak. It was like something was holding her voice back. I wanted to run, but my legs felt like stone. I was frozen, watching as Ngozi stood up and walked back to her hut, leaving Neka lying there in the dirt. The next morning, Neka's condition worsened. She couldn't even get out of bed. Obina was frantic, but Ngozi acted like she didn't care. Maybe the girl is too weak for this family, she said, loud enough for everyone to hear. A few days later, Neka's sister, Chidima, came to visit. She had heard about her sister's illness and came to take her back to their family's home. But Ngozi refused. She said Neka was Obina's wife now and belonged in their house. That night, Chidima decided to sneak her sisters out. She came to me for help because she knew I lived close by and had seen strange things. I didn't want to get involved, but something about the way she begged me made me agree. We waited until Ngozi went to sleep. Then we crept into the compound and carried Neka out. She was so light. It felt like carrying a child. But as soon as we reached the gate, the air changed. It felt heavy, like something was pressing down on us. And we heard it, a loud, guttural laugh. We turned, and there she was, Ngozi, standing in the doorway of her hut, holding that same clay pot. Her eyes glowed in the moonlight.
I will never forget that smile. You really think you can take her from me? She said. Her voice didn't sound human anymore. It was deep and raspy, like it came from somewhere else. Chidima screamed, but I grabbed her arm and shouted, "Run!" We ran as fast as we could, carrying Neka between us. Behind us, I heard Ngozi chanting again, her voice echoing like it was coming from everywhere. We didn't stop until we reached Chidima's house. As soon as we crossed the threshold, the heavy feeling lifted. Neka gasped and sat up like she had just woken from a nightmare. She was still weak, but she could move and speak again. The next morning, Chidima's father went to confront Ngozi, but when he arrived at the compound, he found her lying in the courtyard, lifeless. The clay pot was shattered beside her, and her face was twisted in fear, just like the people she had tormented. Now that she was gone, the village could live in peace.
No one knows what happened that night. Some say the spirits she called on turned against her. Others believe it was Neka's ancestors protecting her. All I know is that Ngozi deaths brought peace to the village. But even now, when I walk past that empty compound, I feel a chill. And sometimes late at night, I hear that laugh in my dreams. No one knows what happened that night. Some say the spirits she called on turned against her. Others believe it was Neka's ancestors protecting her. All I know is that Ngozi death brought peace to the village. But even now, when I walk past that empty compound, I feel a chill. And sometimes late at night, I hear that laugh in my dreams.